This is the Seahawkers podcast, live and uncatfished. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, joined by my good buddy Adam Emmert, and we are celebrating the Seahawks' 31-21 win over the Arizona Cardinals. It only happens every 4 years, apparently, but here we are. We are beating the Cardinals 2 times in one season. Once again, I guess I enjoy midterm election years.
Maybe that's what it is, man. But you said this is UnCatfished, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well then good. Fuck the Cards, man. Yeah, that feels so good to be able to beat them twice now in a season, and really to watch the team thoroughly outplay them both games, yet score a little tighter than we would have expected, I think. But at the end of the day, man, a win's a win. 4 in a row, 6-3. Geno in the offense, they bounce back nicely in this game. Defense plays a whale of a game all game. And we got to see that crybaby shit-ass Kyler Murray pout all over the sideline again. It was great.
That was great. And as Tim Jordan points out, and the Rams lose, and in just absolutely horrific fashion for the Rams, because they think they have the Bucs stopped on 4th down. They get the turnover on downs. Then they have to kick it back to the Bucs with about 45 seconds left on the clock. And Tom Brady drives him down the field, scores a touchdown with about 9 seconds left. And now the Seahawks are in the driver's seat in the NFC West in first place. They get a half game ahead of the San Francisco 49ers because they're on a bye this week. And with both the Cardinals and the Rams losing, it feels good to be sitting atop once again or continually in the NFC West.
It's a great time to be alive as a Seahawks fan. There's no doubt about it. That was a frustrating game at times there against the Cards, but overall really fun. This team's really fun. They play the right way. And that's the thing that I think is the most enjoyable about this team is they really kind of play football the way that it should be played in this day and age. And you see teams that don't do it the right way, like the Cards, really struggle. And the Rams, who basically bought their way to a Super Bowl in cahoots with Roger Goodell and the rest of the team owners, you see it coming down on their heads too.
Yeah, well, you see with the Rams, depth being a really critical factor in their ability to play games this year, and making the trade for Matt Stafford in the tail end of his career is kind of coming back to bite them too. And, if everybody had a quarterback like MVPino to help lead the charge, I mean, I don't know why Geno has to make it more difficult on himself and just give the Arizona Cardinals points. But that's what he decided to do. Let him get ahead just so he could make the comeback late in the game and put him away. It was, I guess it made it more fun, but it also, like you said, that was part of the frustration. And there were probably some other frustrating things that happened for you in this game.
Yeah, I think one of the other frustrating things in this game was early on throughout the game, the Cards made some massive mistakes that really didn't end up biting them all that hard. I mean, the snap over Kyler's head, Connor ends up getting back on it. They just get to punt the ball away. Doesn't turn out to be a turnover. Kobe gets the pick later on in the game, and Diggs gets flagged for legal contact, which you made a good point. I do think Kyler was outside of the pocket and probably shouldn't have been a flag, but that's a massive swing in the game. And then Kyler with the fumble towards the second half. It happens so darn late that Seahawks can't do anything with it. I guess it takes 3 points off the board for the Cards, but they got away with a lot. Now,
and New York deciding that Rondale Moore's fumble wasn't, in fact, a fumble, and just to keep it close, and so the Cardinals could continue that drive and stay in the game.
I'm confused by that one. So when you catch the ball, plant both feet, and then start to spin the opposite direction of your momentum, that's not a football move?
I guess the definition changed in the midst of that ruling to be able to complete a football move rather than just make a football move. So I guess because he started a football move, but he didn't finish the football move and fumbled it in between the act of making a football move, then I guess that's what makes it not a fumble. I don't know. I have no idea.
Sure. Yeah, fine. All right. Whatever you guys say. Our live executive producer Ryan here, he's like, y'all picked the right year to go all in on the content. Folks needs to head to getintheflock.com and get in the Discord. Go Hawks. He's not wrong, man. Discord is on fire on game day. So much great back and forth with a bunch of amazing little flockers. It's a ton of fun. When we started this season, I don't know that we knew that this would be the year to go all in on the pod and everything, but maybe it's the football gods, actually nodding in approval in a way. But, I nod in approval at this team, especially this defense, man. Like, good Lord, the Cardinals had 7 offensive points going into late in the fourth quarter. That's it. The defense was lights out.
It was the defense played well, apart from the fact that they couldn't seem to make a tackle for the life of them. Like, it took 3 tries to make every single tackle. As they were allergic to spin moves by the Arizona Cardinals. Like, every dude who just spin moved them, like, they couldn't hang on. So yeah, yes, Andy, we started early. I thought, I said approximately 5 p.m. Pacific, and Pete was done with his press conference. I wanted to hear from him, and here we go. We wanted to celebrate this win.
Absolutely. Anything interesting from Pete's presser that stood out to you?
That was probably one that I didn't necessarily need now until we come across something where maybe I remember back to something that Pete said, but just more celebrating of what kind of team this is mostly what I got out of him. And, as far as, overcoming some of the adversity, him talking about how cool Geno continued to be even after that pick, that he just wasn't impacted by it. And that was good to see. But again, I could have done without the pick.
Could have done without the pick.
He was having trouble seeing the field for a lot of this game, it seemed like.
Whether it was he wasn't seeing it well, or the risk-averse nature in which that he plays in terms of putting the ball at risk, I think the coverage was just tight enough to where he just didn't want to pull the trigger. And throughout the first half, that was that was a tough thing to see him hold the ball as long as he did, and for their pass rush to get home a few times, or at least just affect the play to the point to where you were then behind the sticks and that sort of thing. So I think we all called for in the Discord getting to the quick passing game, and you saw them start to do it, and they found the one play for this game that seemed to work over and over again. And I wish I had written in the Discord after the second time they completed it. It was the naked and then sneak the tight end out the backside. And I was like, can we just save that until we really need a play again throughout the rest of this game? Don't run it any more times. They did it. And at the end of the game, when they really needed a big play to really seal the deal, they sneak Noah Fant out, and he has a monster play.
He just rolls it down the field. It gets them nearly inside the red zone, and all they have to do is continue to just hammer the rock with Ken Walker. They end up being too close to the end zone to where a first down would have sealed it anyway, so they go ahead and they score the touchdown. And yeah, they put up 31 points. It felt like I didn't think they were going to score that many points, just because the way the Arizona Cardinals defense was seemingly, they played them pretty tough. They were taking away a lot of the deep stuff. Geno wasn't taking a lot of the underneath stuff that was there. And it was, it was a good game, I thought, by the Cardinals defense up until Ken Walker just started running wild. And I wasn't sure why they didn't do that earlier, but it worked out in the end that they just put him away, handing it off to Walker.
Yeah, the first touchdown drive is when they finally started to get Ken Walker involved. And it wasn't the runs to the edge that I thought they'd have the most success with, like the Vikings did. It ended up being a lot of runs in the A and the B gaps and running it up the middle and right down the throat. And that's where Walker started to find his rhythm. Then they went away from it again and just really stuck to the intermediate passing game, almost a little stubbornly. Throughout the first half, I was really frustrated with Waldron. The tricky playbook. Can we just burn that, please? Like, I get that the double pass ended up being a chunk play to Noah. That's fine, I guess. We see the Wildcat at one point again.
Right, DJ Dallas, where he just keeps it. They got a few yards off of that play. I don't care.
Right. I hate the Wildcat. No, thank you. I don't want to see that. Yeah. And then the shovel pass on fourth down. I get that they scored on it the week before, but they've also failed on it a few times this year as well. And it was ugly when they scored. If you're not named Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, please don't run that. They're the only guys that run that well. So can we just take that out of the playbook? And then what was it? The third down played a homer in the first half where that preceded the fourth down, going for it on fourth down. Just, I'm done with Travis Homer on third down. Like, yeah, I get they all like him and everything. He's just a dude. I could do without that. But they did. They finally got to playing regular football in the second half and got rid of all the trickeration. And they, even with all that in the first half, they moved the ball fairly consistently. And, I had some hiccups here and there, but it always just felt like that offense was about to break it open. Like it didn't feel like they're failing. It wasn't a bunch of 3 and outs. They weren't getting dominated.
DeBrutzadino coming in with a $9.99 super chat says, what a fun season. I couldn't ask for more from the rookies. And I hit my Fail Mary. Here is your mandatory kickback. Go Hawks.
Hey, thanks, man. Definitely not mandatory, but definitely appreciated. And hey, I will lose the crown this week because both Clinton and Wilson had big weeks there on the Prop Star show. I didn't have a bad week. I went 2 for 3 on my regular bets, but that late touchdown is what knocked me out of the running on my third down bet. I was really hoping they just kind of like milk the clock there and then kick a field goal and win. But hey, I'm not going to complain, man.
No, not when you get the win, and not, as Hawk Stock and Barrel points out, the curse is lifted. How great was it seeing the stupid Cardinals' terrible body language, a grim foreshadowing of the remainder of their season.
Wow. And yes, for sure.
The Seahawks come away, no injuries. They get the win. I saw a comment earlier about it. I meant to post it, and it was an injury-free day. Although Tyler Lockett took a heck of a hit picking up, after catching the ball and getting a big first down, after falling down short of a first down earlier in the game, he ends up getting that big first down catch in the second half.
I think he must have heard all the little flockers in the Discord after he went down on that third down play. That he was getting crushed, for being soft these days. And, he does go down all the time. But he also comes up with those big time plays. And that was a huge play in the game. And it was cool to see, but I hope the curse is lifted. I mean, once a coincidence, right? So I'd like to see it a few more times, but Lisa, suck it. Clinton, see. Hooks. And see, Christoph was right there for it. Just like all the 12s down there in the desert, big hats off to them. They were dominating that game all game long.
Barry, a.k.a. Van T, checking in with 199 super chat. And Kobe can't catch a break on his interceptions. Quandre Diggs, man, that it probably shouldn't have been a penalty, but I'd have to go back and really look to see where Kyler was in comparison to the pocket. But my sense tells me that was more of a veteran heads-up play by Diggs than it was Diggs, screwing around and making a mistake and taking away another Kobe pick. But kind of a bummer that he just
and then a fumble taken away. A fumble taken away as well. But Kobe with the up and down game, some big moments, and then you see him get smoked on some crossing routes by faster receivers, and you're like, okay. And then the tackling is just like, it's not great all the time with Kobe. So, hey, I'll take it though. I mean, he is playing pretty darn well for a rookie. He's got a ways to go though.
He does. Yeah, it's he had, like you said, some nice moments. He had some other rough moments. We saw another big play by Ryan Neal, like just getting his fingertips on the nose of the football as Kyler's running down the field, able to force a fumble. That was it helped keep points off the board because the Cardinals, they could have tied it up if not for that. And Sam Gilbert coming in saying, everybody point and laugh, point and laugh, point and laugh. Everybody point and laugh at Kyler Murray.
Done, buddy. I was pointing and laughing the whole game, Sam. I'm right with you, bud. It is really fun to watch his pissy pants demeanor just come unraveled. I mean, he had his first hissy fit halfway through the second quarter, And then the thing is now it's starting to permeate the whole team. Like you see D-Hop in his face half the time, and he doesn't look thrilled at all.
No. Well, I mean, I can see why that.
Jacob's comment's hilarious.
Jacob Haas saying Kyler runs like a toddler who stole his parents' phone. And yeah, I think you're going to see more of that from the Cardinals this year now, because at 3-6, it's going to be a pretty tough hill to climb out of, being in the cellar of the division along with the Rams. I mean, I don't know which one of those teams is ultimately going to be the worst, but it's going to be between those two. Barry,
that way.
aka Vanti, back in. It feels good banishing the Bond villain twice this year.
Yeah, Barry referring to our long-running joke that Cliff Kingsbury is a Bond villain that lives in a Bond villain mansion down there in the desert. Watching Cliff's face throughout this game, just he is apoplectic about what's going on. He almost looked as pouty or as sad as that Cards fan that they showed throughout the game, that older gentleman who I think was probably taking a nap, but
he looked like he was the camera was on him for such a long time. It looked like he must be taking a nap. And welcome to becoming a meme, sir, because now we've seen his face all over Twitter after that moment. And we're probably going to see a lot more of that from Cardinals fans this year.
Absolutely. And hey, the Hawks helped out with that by getting a little more aggressive in the second half on defense.
The Snail 12-12 coming in. K9 is the best closer in pro sports. Good things happen when we draft Cougs, and Marcus Trufant and Robbie Tobeck are legendary. Yeah, Abe Lucas. As far as the offensive line went, I mean, there were some issues with, but I felt like it was more with Geno maybe holding on just a little bit too long when he could have been getting rid of the ball with some quicker passes. But yeah, I think, overall, rookies like on the offensive line, K9, great job closing out the game. It is fun now having a guy like Ken Walker when you get into the fourth quarter and you see that you have 4 minutes left on the clock and you're like, all right, let's just feed the dude. And he's picking up 8-yard chunks and the defense is having trouble stopping him. That is fun football.
It is fun football. It's my favorite type of football. There's no doubt about it. In terms of Lucas, I think on the pick six, what happened there is ordinarily the defender doesn't release from the offensive lineman and start to sink back a little bit. Usually they're continuing on their pass rush. And I wonder if that's something that offensive linemen talk about or in their room throughout the week, like in a situation like that, if you feel the guys start to pull away from you, if you then move forward to try to re-engage, keep their hands down, that sort of thing. Now, do you even have time to do that? I don't know. But I wonder if that's what Geno was thinking, is that he was still engaged with Lucas and then put it up the way that he did.
Right. Garen Taylor pointing out that D-Hop, only 36 yards on the day, 4 catches on 5 targets. He did have the 1 touchdown. He nearly had a second touchdown, but that was, what was it, a false start, I think, that brought that one back.
Yeah.
That's right, because Robbie Anderson, how much did Robbie Anderson cost the Cardinals in this game? Great trade card. Am I saying that wrong? Yeah, exactly. The guy that they gave up draft picks for, and he probably hurt their offense more for the Cardinals.
Was he that giraffe thing that was trying to catch a pass?
He couldn't catch passes. When he did try and catch passes, it was did he even have a pass? He caught 1 pass for -4 yards on the day. Great pickup.
Great pickup. Oh man, Steve Keim is a genius. But Tariq did his job today. I know he gave up the touchdown late on the Ertz play, but they didn't really want to try him. They did not test him very often at all. His reputation is starting to precede him, and it's really fun to watch. Another one of the rookies, right? I'm just tickle pink with the type of production that we're getting from these guys, and it just all has fit together so nicely. And now they're playing extreme complementary football with the defense and the offense, and even special teams. Washington
Fish Quest in with the $2 super chat. I might love Shelby Harris. I think, we may have to fight over Shelby Harris because I kind of love him too. Now, how do we might have to work this together to figure out how we tell our wives. I don't know, but
I don't know.
The sack that he got on third down, it was a third down if I remember right.
Yeah.
And it came at just a great time in the game where the pocket just collapses on Kyler and they end up having to punt it away. And I don't think that the Seahawks looked back after that point in the game.
They really didn't. Maybe you don't tell your wife. Maybe you ask her about Shelby Harris. She may also be in love with Shelby Harris, and you can just go with more of a polyamorous relationship. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you just bring Shelby in.
Yeah, well, start maybe sending letters at first to the VMAC just to take Shelby's temperature on all this because he has
like
a family
any good stalker. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matthew Crawford in with $5 saying, how about that Geno no slide against Baker? Yeah, that's one thing about quarterbacks. You have to be careful when you pick and choose when to stay on your feet because there are times where the defenders, they will respect the idea that you're probably going to go down, and then you give them put the move on them like Geno did to pick up the first down. You get one of those a game, or else next time you're going to be taking a shot probably.
MVP has balls, baby. Like, I love that run. And you put it just the right way. You got to pick and choose, right? And this points to Geno's risk assessment capability. Like, he is really good at trying to decide, should I take a chance here or not take a chance here? It was something that we got frustrated with Russ about a little bit throughout his career. But Geno has a really, really good risk management profile. I mean, he just knows the moments, right? And it's because he's been around the game for so long and he knew what a big moment that was. I'm all for it. And he's big enough to absorb a few of those hits a few years.
Sure. Yeah. On the day, Geno Smith, 26 completions, 34 attempts. So yeah, just 8 passes. So super efficient day and 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have the 1 interception, but yeah, overall, and when you think about the yards that he picked up on the ground, he had the 1 long run for 18 yards, 38 total yards on the day. So big day for Geno.
Big day for Geno. On the offense, it really came alive in the second half. Also, I mean, you got to talk about the way the pass rush came alive in the second half. To Will's comment here, woes. Yeah, I can't believe I spit that out on the first try. But Nwosu had a whale of a game, and you could tell Clint Hurt really cut these guys loose in the second half or kicked them in the butt after the first half. And I didn't think the pass rush was terrible in the first half. They were kind of doing the muddle rush thing and were being effective at it because their only source of offense for the Cardinals was Kyler's scrambles.
Yeah, Kyler had 60 yards rushing on the day. That really was their most effective play because through the air, only 175 yards on 25 attempts. So yeah, Geno with 1 more attempt than Kyler, 100 more yards passing, and that just speaks to the type of game that the Cardinals do with all of those check downs and trying to rely on yards after the catch. Now, there were quite a few plays where they were checking it down short of the sticks on 2nd and 3rd down, and they would just slip out of Seahawks defenders' tackles. That part was frustrating. But yeah, to Will's point, Nwosu it was a big day for him. 2 sacks. I think he's at 7 now for the year.
Huge acquisition. Now, I find myself as a 12 in a very weird place in my fandom because I'm far more comfortable when the defense is somewhere between 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 10. It gets over 3rd and 10, and I'm like, they'll pick this up. And they gave up a few of them. The one got called back right on the double forward pass, but in real time, I don't know that I recognize that. I thought that was a legit play.
Yeah.
And, but man, oh man, it's so frustrating to see these guys give up 3rd and longs. I mean, if you were to add it up, I imagine they're the worst in the league on it. I would think they are.
Worst in the league for the Seahawks?
Yeah, giving it up. Giving up a 3rd and 10 plus.
I don't know about the worst. It feels like a lot, but I mean, to the other side of the token, how many 3rd downs did the Seahawks pick up against the Cardinals? Now, maybe they weren't those 3rd and longs, but I felt like those drives in the second half so many of those conversions were third down conversions.
They were all third and manageable. So that helps quite a bit. And when you stay on schedule, it just changes everything about your offense. But I mean, I can't agree with Carly more. Like, I was just holding my breath up until the gun went off. Like, I hope we don't have something happen on this Indian burial ground, man. Like, there's got to be there's got to be one game we come out of here clean, and it just so happened to be this one. And you get the dub, and you're in first place some more. I mean, geez Louise, it's tough to be upset. It's really tough to be upset today. I'm so glad that I stopped my travel going back home today and took the time to just sit down, watch the game, and be here to do the show with you, Brandon, because I had a feeling this was going to be a fun one.
Yeah, well, you felt it right, and I know you kind of had that feeling going into it. It probably a little more points on the board than you would have expected with the 31-21, but it ended up working out all right. Yeah, third down.
I can't predict defensive scores, man. Those are really random, and without that, the Cards get a first drive TD and then a garbage time TD. Like, that's exactly what I expected to see in this game.
Yeah. Third down conversions, the Seahawks 10 of 15. The Arizona Cardinals 6 of 14. It felt more like 6, or it felt more like it was more than 6, but they just came at frustrating moments.
They did, and honestly, I thought the third down conversion rate would be worse for us considering the first half, because it was just those drives ended up bogging down, even though they were moving the football. So
Will back in, saying bend the kneel.
Yes, I would gladly bow down to Ryan Neal. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite players on this team. A huge difference. You saw them play a lot of three safety today. You saw, Josh Jones back there with Diggs, and then bringing Neal up as that, other linebacker, and it gets Barton off the field a little bit more, which I think is good.
And we saw some nice plays from Barton. So, yeah, I think they found just the right mix of that to where, Barton, I just remember seeing him in coverage on a couple of the plays, making nice tackles. I don't, as many missed tackles as there were, I don't think Barton was the problem in that particular situation with the missed tackles.
He's probably more of a backup than he is a full-time starter. And so if you get him into those backup minutes, then those limited areas of exposure, you can still make a couple plays and then have value. So Clinton did a nice job adjusting to that. Barry's been with us forever, man. He's always got great points. And his comment here with Fant, he had a dominant game. He was really fast. And he just, on that double pass where he caught that one and then just got blasted, he's just so huge. He's so huge. Sometimes you forget about how big he is, and he just absorbed it like it was nothing. That dude's a beast.
And yeah, as Barry said, got to give it to Fant for finally showing that speed when we needed it. Nice play up the sideline in the fourth quarter, helping to put that game away. Clinton coming in saying 8 tackles for a loss. 8.
Okay, all right, Clinton. Do a victory lap, my man. You had been calling on this. You knew it was coming. I naysayed you all the way, and you're totally right. Defense balling.
Yeah, and Jeremy Green, Bryant played well, but dude, he had a missed tackle. He did.
He had a couple, and then he got one tackle late in the game where it was all shoulder. He just blasted the dude enough to where, and it's like that.
But the guy went down.
Sure, but it is not a consistent way to play football in this league. The guys are just too good. Kobe's up and down, man. He's up and down, but his ups are huge. His ups are huge, and that's what you got to give him.
Bailey Liborn coming in. I love how creative this offense has gotten. The difference between this offense now versus Russ is night and day. And a big part of that really is Ken Walker being such a big part in the run game. Like, having an effective run game, I felt like is something that we just didn't have that complement for Russ the last few seasons. I mean, go back to the 2015 and 2016 season when Russ was having to run, 5, 6, 7, 800 yards. Whereas with Geno, like he has that ability to pick up those things or to take it. The one thing that impressed me the most was late in the game. And gosh, I hate that formation where they have the 2 guys out wide on either side. They don't have anybody in to help.
That's also the tricky playbook.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky-ish, but Geno keeping it on the what do you call it? The
QB sneak, or you call it QB run, however you want to talk about it.
well, where you fake it to the running
draw.
back, and I don't know. Anyway,
any of those, QB runs it, right?
Yeah.
But also too, like you talk about, well, he never had the consistent running game. Okay, well, even if you look at when at the end of the year last year when Penny was running it well, the plays that Russ still was making, they were the Russ plays.
Yeah,
like you can tell, and part of Waldron being so creative and doing all these tricky things in some of these games is that he feels like he's got a guy that can execute it and just doesn't give a damn. He's like, you can ask me to do that? Great. Whereas I think with Russ at that point in his career, he was like, I'm not doing that. I don't do that well. Let's not do that.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely things that, Geno is much more open to the idea of taking 6 yards on second down and living for a third and short rather than going for something big on second down and then having a third and long if that doesn't convert on second.
Yeah. So it is fun to watch. I mean, it's with all the talent that's on the perimeter for this team, it really lends itself to good offensive play, especially in this Ramsian kind of system, and you're seeing it.
Will, is this a nickname now for Noah Fant? Fancy Pants? I don't know if that's going to stick like MVP, but
no,
it's worth a shot.
I don't know.
I like Fancy Pants.
You had some fancy pants today, man. That run at the end of the game was amazing.
Matthew Crawford coming in at 212.
Wrong. Matthew's wrong.
This is blasphemy. Geno equals pancakes. Kyler equals waffles. Come on now. I mean, if anything, Geno is Reese's peanut butter cups and Kyler is almond joy.
Still wrong. All you guys are wrong. How dare you? Both of you. I love you, Matthew, but how dare you?
Amy Holmes coming in.
There's my twin. Yeah.
Yeah. $4.99 super chat. 2 games up halfway through the season. Yes, please.
It's incredible. And then when you start to think about it, the remaining games, they go 500, they get to 10 wins. Does this team feel like a team that can go 500 over the last 8 games? Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling it. Let's do a quick look at the schedule. And I know, Andy, it's 1:15 over in England. Can you go to bed yet? I mean, we're recording this for you if you decide that you have to go to bed.
Watch later, but
you can stay up too. But I do want to take a quick look at the schedule now that we are sitting at 6-3. You got the Tampa Bay game before the bye week. I worry a little bit seeing Tampa come back in the way they did against the Rams because now I like that our offense can close out a game like the Cardinals, but I worry that Tom always has that in him. So I even in Tom's current state, I feel like that you still have to worry about that game. But after the bye week, just to take a look at it, they play Vegas in Seattle. Vegas having kind of a tough year for Vegas. We still have 2 games against the Rams. One
losing record.
With a losing record. The Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield back in the lineup for the Panthers this week.
Losing record.
And you got San Francisco 49ers. Not a losing record, but they are at 500.
We'll count them as a winning record. Okay.
At Kansas City, going to be a tough one on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
New York Jets got the big win against Buffalo today.
True. I'm not a buyer on the Jets, but okay. Their defense is good, though. Their defense is good.
It goes to show you how some of these games have changed, though, as we looked at them early on in the season, because you almost looked at the Jets as an automatic win and wondered if those Rams games were going to be tough, whereas now the Rams, you got to at least beat the Rams once, I feel like.
Yeah. I think they'll get one.
And I feel like we should get one against the Niners. We gave up one already.
I think that's going to be a heck of a football game. That first game, I don't think was indicative of where the Seahawks were going. And that might be their low point of the year. So I think that's going to be a really, really close game. unless the Niners get all injured by then, which is totally probable. The Bucs game in Germany, that is one that concerns me, mainly because that could be just the thing for the Bucs team. Like, Tom is in a tough headspace, man. Like, I've been where he's at, and if you've never been through a divorce, then you probably don't understand what a fog that is. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care, who you are. It is really difficult to overcome. So just that change of scenery, and for that whole team coming off a come from behind win against the Rams, I think that's going to be a very difficult game.
I like Ryan's comment here. How many teams have gone to the Super Bowl during their rebuilding year?
Hard telling, not knowing, but I do know that this team has a shot. There's a shot. I'm not saying it's likely, but I think maybe.
Yeah, Matthew jumping on board. You heard it here first. Seahawks versus Dolphins Super Bowl. Adam, what would your reaction be to a Dolphins Seahawks Super Bowl?
Fine. I can't wait to steal their soul. I hate that stupid freaking team and their shitty colors and their crappy culture. Actually, I really like Daniels down there. I think he's going to be a pretty good coach throughout the years. But I don't see the Dolphins getting through the Bills or the Chiefs, or the Ravens. It's going to be one of those three.
It was. I followed the Dolphins Bears game a little bit today, just because I felt like it was on red zone quite a bit. Probably because of the score.
Yeah,
they gave up they missed a lot of points where they could have, going forward on fourth down inside of scoring range, and they really kept the Bears in it for a lot of that game. So,
Bears are coming on a little bit. I think they found some offensive identity and have really figured out how to use Fields correctly, and it's helping because I never thought that guy was going to be a bust.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him coming through. I think you liked Zach Wilson quite a bit too, and it seems like he's kind of finding himself this year too.
He's had some rough goes this year.
Yeah, it's kind of though. Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like it's you see the learning process, and you see where he has the big play moments, and he's working through it.
Ooh, Sam Gilbert coming in. Gold right here. Yeah.
Next week is an actual revenge game for Geno. Todd Bowles called him immature for getting his jaw broken. There we go. See, when we were going through the schedule, we should have chalked up the Jets game as an obvious win because it's a revenge game over his former team. And Todd Bowles, former coach, now with the Bucs, it's a revenge game for Geno.
I was not on the Geno revenge tour thing early because I didn't see it. I didn't realize it. And no, it's coming to fruition. I'm not sure that. I mean, Geno was immature then. Like, you ended up getting your jaw broken over, what was it, like $600, $200, whatever it was.
Right.
Like, just pay the man. Like, you have $200. Come on now.
Hoyle Hawk coming in saying, Clinton said on a podcast earlier this week, everyone's having fun except for Fant, so we had to have a great game. And someone on Twitter, I don't have the username handy, but they tweeted some of the Noah Fant mentions, and it was pretty brutal.
Really?
At how Seahawks fans had been going at Fant. So, hey, maybe those fans motivated him this week, and he ends up having a really solid game leading the team in receiving yards.
Geez Louise, I didn't realize that he was catching so much heat from the fan base. I mean, I thought he's been just fine since he came over in the trade. And you got to think, too, he's splitting all those receptions with Disley and Parkinson in that three-headed monster. I love his contribution to that three-headed monster up to this point. That was just a matter of time before it was his game, right? And we could see probably two more going down the stretch.
Yes, I'm not encouraging fans to go after Noah Fant unless.
Thank you, Sam. You get after Brandon.
Unless he responds well to it, and we need to challenge him more now because no, I'm with you, Sam. We don't need to do that. Snail coming in. Bengals went to the Super Bowl in a rebuilding year last year.
Maybe they've been rebuilding for a decade, man, or two. So, I mean, even a blind squirrel, right?
Gordon Stuff coming in saying, I still want to hear an apology from Adam that Will Dissly just isn't worth that much. Eat a little crow.
Let me see if I can find some, man. Like, I will go out to the parking lot right now, go kill a crow, and I won't even defeather it. I'll just choke it right down because Gordon's not wrong. I mean, I wasn't mad about the signing. I just thought that was a little too much money for a guy who's had a hard time staying healthy. But yeah, man, wrong. 100% wrong.
Linebacker 54. How would 7-3 feel at the bye? I can feel it.
Boy, that'd be great. I think there's a legit chance they beat the Bucs. They just worry me a bit in this situation because it's not who you play, but when you play them, right? Coming off the big win, emotional high. You know, like I said, I think a trip to Germany might be just thing. But then again, it's a Todd Bowles led team, and that has shown to be over the course of time to be an emotionally flat team almost no matter what.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how to feel about this Bucs team. I don't think beating the Rams necessarily was a huge feat, and doing it at home in Tampa.
Squeaking it.
And just squeaking by, right? Yeah. They had a drop in the end zone that probably should have given them a lead a whole lot sooner and not had to cut it so close. But yeah, it was.
Well, okay, so let's compare and contrast here a little bit, right? So if you're a Bucs fan and you were just watching that game between them and the Rams, I don't think you felt like you were in control that whole game and really kind of giving it to them and like, how is it this close? Like, we should probably be winning by 2 scores. Whereas like with us this last week and really the week before against the Giants, you watch that game and you're like, we're letting them hang around. Like, this isn't, we're dominating this game. And so they came back and they stole one. And that's a very different feeling than being like, okay, we got behind a little bit, but we were dominating them all game and then pull it out.
Yeah, Thad and Wenatchee pointing out Bucs looked terrible versus the Rams. That'll be a game that we'll have to go back and watch this week because it was the only other game going on at the same time. I was completely focused up until the Seahawks game was over and I got to watch the final 2 minutes.
Well, that's a multitasker. I couldn't do it. I had to only watch one game, man.
I could see being able to do it if I wasn't in the Discord in my off time. Yeah, absolutely. And Sven coming in from Deutschland. Munich will be Hawks country. An additional home game for the Seahawks this coming week. Man, I hope there are a ton of Seahawks fans in that stadium making noise, kind of the same way that we heard from Seahawks fans in Arizona, them doing the defense chant late in the game, and you could hear the Seahawks fans in that stadium overwhelming them with the Seahawks chants over the defense chants.
It was all game, and I hope Sven and all his buddies and all the 12s over there in Germany do make a strong showing. If the demographics of the people who listen to our show point to anything, it only backs up everything that Sven's saying here. There's a ton of you over there, man. So looking forward to it.
Barry coming in with what I think is going to be the final super chat of the day. We spot the Cards fans 7 out of pity. Yes.
Yeah. You give them some false hope. It's not even out of pity. It's more out of cruelty, right? So you spot them the 7 early just so that you can rip that last little shred of hope that this season's going to mean something right out of their heart. And that's the one takeaway that I have for the Cards after this game is, geez Louise, like, if you're looking at this, you got to feel like your season's over. I mean, I had mentioned in the Discord, like, Hawks better be ready for some increased energy in the second half because they're playing like they have to play like their season depends on it because it does. It feels over.
And I think that they did have that kind of energy, and the Seahawks were able to play through it really well, able to overcome an interception given up by Geno, respond with that, the defense hanging tough and shutting down Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that was super impressive throughout the day. So, yeah, overall.
Won me a bet, too.
And it won Adam a bet. So, a great win by the Seahawks on the road against the Arizona Cardinals, 31-21. We're going to be chatting about it throughout the week. Make sure you tune in for some 3 in, 3 out this week. And we're going to be celebrating this victory here throughout the week and the Seahawks 6-3 record as they head into Germany to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Heck yeah, man. Just want to thank all you guys that participated in the chat today. All you folks in the discourse, you guys are amazing. You're helping making this thing go. It's so exciting to be a part of this with you guys. Yeah, can't wait to see this game in Germany, man. 7-3 going into the bye. That feels damn good.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.